All right, Plat Chat episode 166. Once again here with Custa. And this time, we got Coluge and Sam on to counter the Dante and Jake perspective, the Houston Outlaws.
Bias.
Yeah. Coluge, you said you'd heard some things in the previous episode. You know, the announcement was made, Toronto Defiant. You guys finally were announced the worst secret in the Overwatch League. And so obviously you had to come on this episode to you know, straighten things out and, you know, talk about the lay of the land, really.
Yeah. I mean, I saw Dante said we have ego issues and that we throw scrims, but that wasn't like our team as a whole. I think it was Atlanta players. It wasn't us.
Okay. It wasn't the shot.
I take scrims very serious. I know Sam does for sure too. So
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know where that conclusion came from.
I mean, like, bro, he's talking about, like, we used to throw Houston scrims and contenders. Like, needs to realize that was like 3 years ago now.
Yeah, it's when they were like 17, 16-year-old kids.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
They're gonna do that, but like once you start getting paid a salary, you kind of like.
Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure scrims will be thrown this year. I'm sure, I'm sure that'll happen at one point, but like it's not gonna be like a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's never gonna be a problem.
All right.
At least not from me.
Okay, not from Coluge, yeah.
Well, now we got to get the Atlanta guys on next. We're just throwing the baton forward. You know, that we shit talk. You know, that Toronto got shit talked. Okay, now we throw it on to Atlanta. We'll pull them on, and then they'll shit talk someone else.
They're gonna say it was Gator and Hawk.
Get a constant
and then we'll have Gator and Hawk on.
No, they can't defend themselves. Surely, like, seriously, after like they seriously cannot defend themselves. It was so bad last year.
It was so bad last year.
Yes. Was it not horrible?
Yeah, it was.
All right, explain. Just give a little bit of context so that Reddit doesn't go fucking wild with this.
You got it, or you want me to do it?
I mean, it would be weird. I mean, it didn't matter. Like, they'd win 2 maps. That's enough for them to start throwing. They'd lose 2 maps. That's enough for them to start throwing. Like, it wasn't like it was just scrim wasn't going how they wanted it to. Win or lose, just start throwing.
Boring meta over.
Yeah, boring meta.
Or no. A good one was like, if they didn't play the map that we were playing, like in a scrim that weekend.
They wouldn't try.
Oh,
try.
God,
that's the worst.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, we'd always have to try to bargain whenever we schedule scrims back in the day. We're just like, oh well, you know, if we give you Numbani, we'll take Kings Row. Just like let's scrim this map because we gotta practice the Swiss one. And you'd be like, okay, fair enough. But so not going through with that promise. That's the absolute worst. You had to deal with that, Custa, in the Overwatch League, right? In 2018, 2019.
Oh yeah,
as well.
like throwing scrims isn't a new thing or like unique to any one team or player. Like people have bad days, teams have bad days where they just like all of a sudden they decide that they want to give up. Like I think when you're in a bad meta was the worst. Like when we're in like peak goats, some teams just like gave up. They're like, fuck it, we're just gonna play something else and not play goats, and you're just like wasting your time. So sweet, that's fun. So it's not a new thing, it's always gonna happen. But like as you guys said, like usually the more mature you get as like just a person and a player, like the less that really happens, because you just sort of like grow and realize you're wasting your own time, you're wasting everyone's time, and it just like hurts you in the long run, right guys?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I didn't mean to open the show and just like throw punches off the bat to Jake and Dante. Anyway, it's just banter, just fun stuff. How's the offseason been, guys? I appreciate you guys coming on. I believe I saw earlier this week you actually landed in Toronto and got to the facility. You guys are rooming, if I understood correctly.
Not me and him.
Oh no.
No, thank God.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's me, Mayed, and then him, OG, UV, Wheats, and then Hydron and Speed. Really? Yeah, I think that's how it is. Yeah. We're not all on the same floor. We're like stacked on top of each other, so it's weird.
All right.
Well, I want to let's kick it off with like, because you guys are all friends, you guys have played together for like such a long time. How did this offseason go? Because like, did you guys sort of speak to each other and be like, hey, it'd be awesome to get the band back together in a way, let's find a team that wants us? Did Toronto approach you guys? Like, how did this really all come together?
It felt like this was always in the making. Like, I can't help but feel like last year was just a buy year to get it all underway and get everyone in the same location. Am I wrong?
I mean, Hydron said it. It was if no AT player like would have won the league, then we were coming back together.
Yeah. Kind of had like a idea of what we wanted to do. I mean, we all want to play with each other. We had the chemistry on AT. We were beating a lot of the top OWL teams like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So, I mean, we kind of felt that we had the chemistry that we needed in order to compete at the highest level in the Overwatch League. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen like that all the time to where you can all
I
get
think
picked up.
like a big thing is we honestly just wanted to see like how we would actually do in the league too.
Yeah,
like,
that
for
too.
me. So.
Oh, you had that thing where like, oh, you know, what if we stuck with this team for longer? Like we had a really good thing going, and like we could have snowballed that. Because I mean, it's so far away now. But you know, when I was part of Rogue, we had a really good thing going, and then that kind of like split up, and like we went separate ways and all that. But then like a year later, you know, I was off the Misfits, and like everything went to shit. So I had to pivot to being broadcast talent because I was washed up now. But like I always went back and thought like, oh, you know, what could have been if I stuck with Rogue instead, and like we got through a bad meta for us. Like, you know, what could have been of that Rogue, and like could I have been in the Overwatch League if I had stuck with that team rather than going separate ways. So that's kind of how you feel now, where it's just like, well, now we'll finally know like how good American Tornado would have been in the Overwatch League.
I mean, I'm an excuse guy. I like to give excuses, but I'm not. If it's not as good as Overwatch 1, because like that ball comp was just fucking good for us.
Yeah.
I didn't play in that meta.
Yeah,
but like,
I was on Sig, froze on ball.
yeah, like that was just like the perfect comp. And I think Overwatch 1 was just like. You think it's fair to say that the tank line's probably the strongest part of AT? I think it is.
For 1000% it was.
Yeah, I'd say
you
it
guys
was.
got
So
carried.
like now we only got one tank then.
Well,
Just me and him.
Okay, wait, like how high do you guys put respect on your name? Because that's like kind of the Shanghai Dragons comp. Like, do you guys think you could have been competitive at that level, like back then in 2020?
I think we would compete with them. I'm not gonna say we would beat them because obviously they won the league.
Yeah,
we never scrimmed them, so we can't really get like a good grasp on how we would compare to them. But I think we would. It would make
compete,
it.
100%.
100% compete with them. So
it wouldn't be Atlanta.
Because I know Speedily has a way better echo than like Flutta. And then like
the 2020 MVP with the echo skin. You think Speedily back then was still better at echo?
Oh yeah, no. Speed's been the best echo in the world for like years
like
now.
He's ridiculous on that.
Yeah, it's genuinely like not close either. It's like I think he's actually like the one person on the one hero where I think he's like levels ahead on any other player.
Wow.
It's not close.
Yeah,
that's a claim. I hope we get an echo meta this season now. I hope we see it, because like as you said, Speed's been hyped up for like, as you said, like a really long time. You know, it was awesome to see him come into the league this year, but like even when he did come into the league, it felt like we never really got to see like his true form in a way. So it'd be awesome coming into this season playing with you guys, if everyone could start to experience how good he is as a player.
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, like Echo was played before the playoffs in like scrims and practice and stuff as well. So I guess, you know, I was kind of hoping to see Speedily playing Echo in the playoffs, and then Dallas Fuel just like ruined everything. About the playoffs.
Yeah, there was a couple maps Shock was playing Echo,
yeah.
And then we got to Anaheim. And then we just lost like every Malcolm map. I was like, all right, just fuck it.
I'm going back to the bench. Good luck, guys.
Yeah, and I was already playing like, it was only like 3 maps too. And then yeah. No, I literally called it before like that meta happened. I said it was Monkey Sojourn Tracer at first. Everyone was scrimming.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, knowing Dallas, I was like, Dallas is gonna find a way to just fuck up this meta somehow. Yeah, I was like, they're gonna find a way to just ruin it.
It seemed like everyone hated it, because even teams like Houston Outlaws, like speaking to those guys, they were just like, oh, you know, they were just like, oh, we're crushing this meta. We're like playing Orisa. We're having so much fun with things. Like we're dominating in scrims. And LA Gladiators, that went to shit as well. They just like couldn't adapt to the Reaper composition as well. So it seemed like a lot of teams at Seoul Dynasty were playing Roadhog. And then that went out the window as well. And, you know, they struggled in the playoffs. So it seemed like Dallas kind of just like ruined everything going into the playoffs. Was it harder to play in the playoffs because the meta just like flipped once you arrived in Anaheim, or did you kind of feel like comfortable picking things up?
I feel like,
well, it was I don't know, it was pretty easy for us to pick it up. We did struggle a little bit at first because we couldn't figure out, like, we're not good at brawl comps because we don't all speak the same language on the Shock. So it's like you have the back and push calls, and then people want to make plays. It's all got to be like super fast, and you don't speak the same language. It's like really hard to come together and play as a unit, but we started to figure it out towards the end. That's why we lost to the Outlaws so badly when we first played them. We figured out our issues, came back, and I mean, I felt like we got really good towards the end. So.
Well, I'm curious because let's sort of deep dive further into this because like you guys came from, you know, the contenders where you're playing with your friends, you're playing in North America, and now you're thrown into a mixed roster. All of a sudden you're on the San Francisco Shock, one of the winningest franchises of all time. Like, how was that transition for you guys, like coming into a more professional environment and sort of trying to make your presence known in that team?
Well, I was kind of nervous. I honestly thought I was playing with Super when I first got picked up.
Of course, yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, it's going to be easier. I just need to play the tanks that I'm good at already. I don't really need to learn all these new things and lead the team. And then I found out I was solo tanking, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I was on the Shock too, so I'm like held to this super high standard. So I mean, there's a lot more effort when you join the league that you have to put in, and you know, it's not just for you; it's for your team and all the fans that are watching. So you really got to like step up your game from contenders to Overwatch League.
Sam, you were on the Shock way earlier than Coluge, by a few months, I reckon. Sam, did you vouch for Coluge? Were you like, you need to get my guy in here? Like, if Super's going to retire, we need Coluge in here?
Yeah. So Super retired pretty late. So there wasn't that many options. And at the time, like, Coluge was, like, obviously, like, good enough, but, you know, the PR shit. So, I mean, I just told him, I was like, wait, no, who was the other person I was saying? Oh, False, but he went to Vancouver. So I was like, yeah, I like told Krusty, I was like, I really think Coluge's like our only like top, like, you know, like we bring Coluge on and he's like already good enough to compete with this team. You know what I mean? I think I felt like that was like the only player that was like already good enough and we could make better.
All right. And how did it feel like coming into such a short notice then, Coluge? Because you joined late March, I believe. You were probably on the team earlier than that, but that was when it was announced anyway. And then you got like a month and a half to prepare for the Overwatch League. Was it hard to like get situated with a new team? You know, you got Koreans in there. It's, you know, a lot of coaches involved as well, a different structure. Like, how was it like getting adjusted to the San Francisco Shock environment and, you know, learning to play with everyone?
Well, I mean, it was kind of hard at first because I'm joining a team with non-English speakers. So like, that's already like a number one barrier I got to get over. I was also in school at the time, so stage 1, I was still doing my test and homework when they were all going out.
Wow,
yeah. So that's why I don't know. Stage 1 was really rough for me, but you know, transitioning over, I kind of just tried to have fun with it and do what the coaches told me to. But
also, I mean, early stage 1 though, we were also I was playing like a good bit, and Finn.
Yeah,
so there was 2 English speakers. Like we were.
Yeah, Finn
like,
speaks really good English.
Yeah,
really?
Finn, Finn. So it wasn't, but I'd say like when it was like I still think it's like really difficult when there's like 4 Koreans, 1 English. Like, I still think that's extremely hard. Like, to be honest.
The communication in some of the matches was. Like, I looked like I was feeding sometimes because of the lack of communication. Like I'd just be somewhere completely different on the map, and you know. But yeah, the transition was pretty easy for me.
How did you guys get over that? Because like obviously you guys became more successful as the season went on. Is it just like you started to getting used to like buzzwords, all the usual things that usually come with that mixed roster?
Yeah.
They started speaking more English too. They took English classes. So
yeah, but I think overall it is just like playing more with each other, to be honest.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, that's with every team.
Because like I asked like Krusty about like the language barrier and shit, like because I was worried about it at one point, and he was like, "No, it'll just like kind of it'll fix itself. It's like we just play more." So
do you feel more like that's our going, Custa?
Did you have a lot of confidence in Krusty? Because like obviously Krusty is, you know, a phenomenal coach. He's won a lot of accolades. Like how was that, you know, coming in and learning from such like a heavy coach? You just have trust in him, or was it like even with the coaching, just like the players, you have that sort of language barrier? He speaks somewhat good English, but it can still be difficult at times.
No, Krusty's English is like.
Yeah, it's like he speaks English.
Oh, really?
He just
straight up?
Yeah. He just speaks English. So
Wow,
that was never a problem with Krusty. Krusty 9K both.
Oh yeah, the coaching staff was ridiculously good. That's probably why I got so good so fast. Like Krusty didn't really coach me personally. 9K did, and 9K, that guy is ridiculous when it comes to coaching. That's the only reason why I got
in the world.
How
so? Like the best.
People say this all the time. They're like, oh, you know, Krusty and 9K and Junk Bucket, and like it's just It's just like, what do they do differently? Like, how are they so good at coaching? What do they do? Is it like the
9K?
way they talk to you? Is it the way they break things down? Or like it make
Everything, all that.
you feel confident? Everything?
Yeah, all that. Like,
Yeah, 9K was a player too. So,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I genuinely will. I'll die on this hill. I think 9K is the best coach in the league.
Yeah, he could probably coach every game too. I don't know. That guy just
Yeah.
he'll stick on something, he'll watch it back like 30 times, and then he'll tell you exactly what to do, what this player is gonna do, how to play against it. He'll just break every single thing down.
Or
that you
like,
need to
no,
know.
my favorite thing is when he'll pull up like one fight. I'll be like, all right, so this is how they're playing the game, just like from one fight. And I'll be like, you guys need to do this. I'm like, all right, got it. Done.
Yeah, and then we just got to carry scrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does that
That guy's
conversation go? You're like playing maybe like a Winston meta composition, and they're just like, oh, they're investing resources into their Winston, so like go hunt their backline, or is there anything more like in depth that you can reference to?
Just like angles, he'll be like, all right, so they're like trying to like make you guys like cross like this line. So someone just needs to go over here, call it, and they push, and it's like, oh, okay, done.
Yeah, and he'll also break down the enemy tank's play style too,
Mm-hmm.
so you can play around it. That's what he did a lot for me. And then like he'll watch other tanks back, he'll pick good things from that tank and bad things, and he'll like try to like put it all into one so I can implement their play style and try to use what they do in my own play style.
Is that one of the things that you guys were most impressed by, like coming into the league? Because like that's something that has evolved a lot in the last few years. Is like coaches as general, the best coaches have risen to the top. Like in contenders, did you ever have like? Obviously, I'm not saying like blame your previous coaches or anything like that, but is like that level of structure and that highest level of coaching. Like, do you think that's what makes a team great in the Overwatch League, or do you think players are still more important?
Players are way more important, but I think the coaches do help if you're like underexperienced. I think.
Yeah.
Like if you have more experience as a player, I feel like you kind of don't need a coach anymore. Like I'd say this year is the year to where like I'd probably still need a little coaching, but I don't need it as much as I did last year coming.
I
into
mean,
the
I
league.
think like now for like now that we're experienced, coaching is gonna like it's a different. We need it in a different way. It's not like
Yeah.
the way we needed it last year is like different than this year.
Yeah, because in contenders you didn't have the competition that this league has. Like there's teams doing certain things that you've never seen before, and in contenders you kind of just had better mechanics, so you win. Doesn't matter what you do.
But Wheats, who is my coaching contenders, definitely he definitely helped.
Yeah, but it was he did help a lot. But I mean, it's kind of hard to coach in contenders because the teams just aren't that good. I mean, they're not going to play the game the right way.
When we were getting like spawn camped by Gladdy.
Yeah, he helped.
He said some stuff to help.
I think it's interesting the way coaching has kind of like evolved and like how we perceived it over the years. Because if you go back to Goats, for example, Goats was obviously a very different meta, and Goats turned out to be so refined in that like at the end of the day, like when you started to analyze Goats between the best teams, it was like, oh well, they brig bashed like 1 second before the other team, which opened the door for an Earth Shatter, and like then did the armor pack comment. So you had like very micro heavy like analysis and coaching going on, especially when it came to Goats. And then I think it was like a year or two of like hangover following Goats, where everyone's just like, oh, it's all about the micro, it's all about like using this ability 1 second before the other team. But it sounds, I mean, talking to more and more teams, this day and age, it's more about, first of all, communication. Like the London Spitfire, they were just like, we're just going to be the best communicators in the league. We're going to have great teamwork because we have great communication and be on the same page all the time. And then the other thing last year, if you have great macro understanding of positioning and how compositions work and investing resources, like you're pretty much set. If you know that the enemy team is going to be a bit more passive when it comes to their Winston composition, like you can abuse that in your favor when it comes to positioning and the way you invest resources. Do you feel like it's sometimes coaching is a bit exaggerated in that like you don't need to pinpoint the exact like ability cooldowns and all that? The big picture is more important. The macro is more important, and that's what's going to sway matches. Am I correct or am I wrong?
Yeah. So I'd say macro is more important, but when it is like the stage 3 and playoffs metas, where it's like one comp, that's when micro kind of has like a lot more.
Yeah. Like when every team is doing the same thing, you kind of need the cooldowns to be used at the right times.
Yeah. That's really it. But like I agree with like the macro stage 1, stage 2 was like there wasn't really macro. I don't even remember really micro in stage 2 at all.
Yeah, it was kind of like a general idea of what you needed to do against a certain comp, and you kind of just like cooldowns didn't really matter as much. So
well, I guess like the fact as well that stage 2, it was so open when it came to the metas. Like you could play a lot of different stuff. It doesn't really like lend it to be micro oriented, because you're like, we can't plan micro for every single opponent and everything in composition. So as long as we're like on top of our game, where we can adapt to whatever they bring out. If they bring out Rodog on Oasis City Center, like we know what we're doing against that, because we've practiced that. So it really depends. If you have a Jotes meta is actually the perfect example. If you're playing Jotes meta, that's when micro starts becoming important, because that's when you're all playing the same comp, and like the advantage, the edge is really found in who's using what ability first in fights, stuff like that.
Yeah. I want to move it forward, because like with coaching as well, like you guys got Kasaurus, was also a part of the San Francisco Shock in the past. Like, are you guys happy with him as a coach? Are you excited to be like working with him and learning from him?
Yeah, he's a really good coach, good guy. He knows how to give you the feedback the right way. Like some coaches kind of give it to you the wrong way, like telling you you're doing something wrong, make you feel like trash. And then you got the good coaches that'll like give you like, I like the coaches that give you options. They don't like say this is how you have to do it.
Confine you to one thing.
You get one thing to do. I like the coaches that lay out like 3 options. Pick one, see if it works. If it doesn't work, try this. Those are the good coaches. Cass usually does that, so I love his coaching style.
Agree.
Yeah. Are you focused heavily on like good vibes this year? Did you always want Kasaurus as a head coach? Was he like a number 1 option when you realized, well, if we're gonna bring back American Tornado in the Overwatch League, like who we would like to be coached by? Or was it more like, hey, we're getting Kasaurus on the Toronto Defiant, like this is a slam dunk, of course we wanna
head coach, like I mean, it didn't matter to me so much like if he was head coach or not. I just wanted him as a coach, like wherever we went,
because he's just awesome. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
That's cool to know. Yeah. So I was going to bring up more contenders and stuff, but we're already on this San Francisco Shock train here. So I wanted to talk a bit about your part in the San Francisco Shock, Sam, because it was a bit of an up and down kind of season for you, especially early on in the year. I mean, you were featured quite a bit, and you saw some playtime. How did you perceive your own start to the year in the San Francisco Shock, like stage 1, stage 2, and your role in the team, your playing time, and what were your goals as a player back then?
I mean, my goal is just like to do just play the stuff that I made Owl playing, and get better at stuff I hadn't been playing, and just help the team in any way I can. So stage 1, and at the beginning it was like that Genji Soldier. I was playing the Genji, and then when it swapped to Soldier Tracer, I definitely think I probably could have played Soldier, but that was like my fault. Yeah, I could have. I'll just say I was kind of throwing scrims.
Oh, full circle. We come back full circle and throwing scrims comes
okay,
back.
but it completely stopped after this. No, I was like I was just like doing like dumb shit, and they'd be like, why are you doing this? Like, this is like after this, like Crusty asked me like, why did you guys like do that? And I was like, oh, I was like, that's just like how I scrim. I was just trying to like limit test, and he was like, no. He was like for the team. He was like, you need to like play for the team and stuff. I was like, okay, I got it.
So that's interesting. You say limit test, because I mean I understand what you mean, because I'll throw some shade. I mean, he hasn't been in the scene for quite a while, but Twick as well. Whenever we scrim with Twick, like he would actually sometimes in practice he wouldn't feed like intentionally, like he never threw because like all chat and throwing scrims or whatever, but he would actually limit test in that he'd actually like push his flanks to the limit.
Yeah, that's
quite a bit.
That's kind of, especially like I've never really played Soldier like combat, so I was just really seeing like what you could. I was like, what can we do on this hero? Like
how far can you push it before
I mean,
you're feeding?
And then stage 2, I mean, it was just like the hit scan kind of roll was swap. Like we kind of figured out it could like swap a lot. So you saw me like swap into Genji a lot, swap into Echo, and just other stuff. So I mean, yeah, a lot of the maps I was playing, and then my Sojourn got like I think pretty good. It was pretty good that stage, but yeah, I know a lot of people were like surprised when I didn't play like stage 3, because it was like Sojourn who I played last stage, and then Genji when I played stage 1. But it was Sojourn Ash at the start of stage 3. So Kilo was playing the Ash.
No, it was Ash Genji. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was Ash Genji at the start of stage 3. But I was saying like the hit scan could swap between Sojourn and Ash.
Yeah.
And Shock didn't know like if Sojourn was 100% better. So I didn't play that Sojourn role. That's why Kilo took that over.
And like throughout the year, like how did you feel about this substitution strategy? Because you came in like, especially as time went on, like very scarcely, like every now and then you just came in like in a random map 5 to just like clutch it out. Like, how do you feel about those situations? Do you take it as just this is my job, I need to come in map 5 and dominate?
Yeah, that's how I had to take it. Like I played Lijiang. Unfortunately, it was map 5. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta play it. I can't say, oh, well, it's map 5. I'm not playing it. Like, no, I scrimmed Lijiang, so I gotta play Lijiang. You know. It's just,
And you crushed it. And like, so how was it playing as like a consistent, I would say almost like second string, like proper, obviously MVP of the league, incredible player. Did you sort of struggle with being like, well, I'm not going to be able to play these heroes because proper's always going to be able to play? And did you change your almost like hero style and what you were practicing around that? No,
yeah.
nothing like that.
I mean, I guess Sojourn was like the only thing I really changed. I mean, yeah, no, I didn't really change that kind of. I don't think so, at least. I mean, we didn't really have ranks, so I don't know how much I could really change.
Oh
right?
yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah. So.
How was that? Give me that feedback. Like no ranked, almost impossible to practice. And you guys, you know, as you said, came on and off of the bench. Like, how did you guys just practice in general? You just shooting bots? Like, how are you doing it?
I would 1v1 with Kilo for a lot. Like me and Kilo, we just play like that 1v1 thing.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, I would just do like Winston primal codes. That's literally, I did it for like 30 minutes before we started scrimming. And I mean, we had three blocks, so 6 hours. So
yeah,
I mean, you kind of get good pretty fast. If you're scrimming that much.
Yeah.
All right. So how did you feel about your place in the San Francisco Shock when Striker was signed into the lineup? Because at that point, you probably like know your role in the San Francisco Shock and like what was asked of you, and then Striker gets in as well. So then you're like, well, now I gotta, compete for playing time with Striker and Proper and Kilo at that time. Were you still like committed? Like, did you feel like you had a goal in mind and a responsibility to your team, or like what was your headspace during that time?
I mean, a lot of like emotions. I mean, what I was told and stuff was like it was just like a whole bunch of different stuff. I mean, they were it wasn't like anything bad, Like I still like love everyone that was shocked. Like I would never get like mad over them winning like someone else. But I mean, I don't really know how to explain it. They said that a brawl meta was coming, and then they were just like they had won with like Striker with the 2019, right? They felt like the brawl meta was coming, so they were like extremely confident that Striker could perform well in a brawl meta, and that was kind of like the reasoning.
Yeah, it
and then
probably
like,
felt. Yeah, go on.
And then I guess I did ask them. I was like, so why wasn't I like dropped? You know what I mean? I did ask that. I was like, what? And then they said that like if it was like Genji and just like or like double flex stuff, I guess they want to keep me.
Well, you did say you got some Echo playing time.
Yeah,
so...
and I was playing Echo a little bit, but yeah, that didn't go through to like the matches.
So in a slightly different meta, like we still see Sam in the playoffs. So they still felt like you of course, brought value to the team, and they valued your kit, and they wanted to get involved.
Yeah. Wanted me to play tank.
So. They wanted you to play tank.
You almost pulled a Dante.
Yeah. I almost pulled a Dante.
Yeah. If they wanted me to like try me out on tank a little bit, they honestly for like a good bit of the year they wanted to like try me on tank more. But
how did you feel about
that? My thing was if they tanked me, I was like, you guys gotta sign me for another year. It's like, I was like,
honestly, that's super smart, because if they put you on tank and then it doesn't work, then you get dropped. It's like, well, where do I go from here, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, listen, I'll play tank all you guys want. I was like, gonna need a 2-year.
Yeah.
I was like, that was my role. And they were understanding, like, when it comes down to stuff like that, you got to consider the team and yourself, and that's just like kind of what I came to.
Do you know what tank they wanted to put you on? Like, what's the one specifically they wanted you to practice?
Human Zarya.
And
Monkey in stage 1. That was terrible.
No. Like they wanted me to, and in stage 1 it was like Zarya, but
play Doom too, though.
Yeah, so it was Zarya Doom, but like if I had to swap Monkey, they were like, you can like share.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's transition this onto you, Coluge, because like you, as you said, this is the only tank you got forced to play Winston a bunch. I honestly, like, you could see your improvement go throughout the year. As you said, 6 hours a day of scrims, like, you can see that growth. How did you feel about having to pick up a lot of main tanks, having to play a lot of things at the highest level that you weren't really used to?
I mean, there's a lot of stress, man. Like that first stage, I've never felt that stress in my entire life.
Yeah.
But the coaches really did help a lot. The team was really understanding that I was learning these new heroes, so they were trying not to flame me, but I could kind of tell that they were getting a little frustrated in some of the scrim blocks, but they weren't saying it
Oh yeah,
directly.
the added language barrier.
Oh yeah, I could tell they were talking shit
Oh, man.
sometimes. I was like,
I
ah,
have
Oh, no, no,
I've
no.
been- I've
You
been
could
there,
easily
man. I've
tell
been
when
there. I
like they
know,
were trying
yeah,
to
yeah.
figure out like what they wanted to tell you, but they couldn't.
yeah, bro.
Yeah.
God. I felt so bad, and I tried my best. I watched Fearless VODs. I watched Reiner play. I did everything I could. I feel like I got good pretty fast. And then the ball stuff came around. I'm not learning ball. Like that's the one hero I'm not gonna learn. Like,
Really?
I'm
You're
playing,
just like, no,
yeah,
not gonna
like,
do it.
good luck. I mean, if it's a ball meta, good luck. I'm not doing it. But I mean, I don't think ball will ever be hard meta, so we might be good on that. But
Well, hey, but okay, well, we're gonna
let's hope,
we're
let's
gonna go on
hope.
a tangent here real quick.
Oh man,
Bull just got
God.
150 shields.
Yeah,
Bull seems to be terrorizing
You
rank,
you
and I'm
sure
looking at the
about that? I'm
Wikipedia page.
like,
You're the only tank on the Defiant. Come on, you gotta learn it a little.
We might be looking at 30 days, man. I don't know. I just
okay,
can't. I can't do it,
all right,
man.
ask yourself this: come start of the season, you really think you're gonna be the only tank?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Well,
I just
especially
need
if you
someone to
don't
play
learn
ball. That's it.
Yeah, well, it's like, okay, well, this is a great transition into the shock year as well. Mikey comes in, he plays ball, like that sort of probably took a lot of weight off of you. Did that help you? Did that give you a lot more confidence to be able to focus on the things that you're good at?
Yeah, I think having two tanks on the team is good. Not just because like even if I didn't play the entire time, I could watch him play in certain metas, and sometimes he would just have a better play style for a certain meta. Like for brawl metas, I feel like he was way better, but like slower, more like I don't know.
Resource control.
Yeah, resource
maybe?
control.
Yeah.
I was like way better at, I think. So like we had our different play styles, and like he would watch my POV and tell me what he would do here, and I would tell him. And I mean, it's just good to have, two people bouncing ideas off each other. Not just because you can have one person play one set of heroes and the other one play this set of heroes. So
Yeah,
it's a good
just
dynamic.
like working together.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting because I feel like you're putting yourself down a little bit, and you're like, oh, I have to pick up Winston, and yeah, like I think you got fourth in the kickoff clash. You lost to Dallas because they played the Sora composition, and the Sora composition with Reaper, which is brutal at the time. But then you went on like a massive win streak in the regular season, and you got second, of course, at the mid-season madness. So despite the fact that it feels like you're being hard on yourself, you were actually like an incredibly dominant team in the regular season. Why did you think that was? Like, despite maybe some of your perceived shortcomings on the tank role, why were the Shock so good in the regular season and consistent throughout the entire year in that regard?
Regular season champs.
Yeah, well, we have proper Violet, Finn, and then Kilo Sam. I mean, just look at the roster.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to do bad on a roster like that.
So it was like a mechanical edge, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, and the coaches too. They helped me get better a lot faster. So
Yeah, I feel like regular season is just so different than tournaments.
yeah, it's so easy in the
Yeah.
regular season, and it was my first time playing on stage. So I got up there, I was so nervous, man. Oh god, I trolled so many of those matches.
How was that? Like, how was the feeling within the Shock? Because like that was the one thing still to this day that you guys just couldn't get over. Like, you guys could dominate most of the teams, you were crushing most of the league, but when push came to shove against Dallas Fuel, against the big boys of the league, you always seem to come a little bit short. How was that as a player, like being on stage and really trying to like navigate through that?
I mean, on stage it's a little different in front of the crowd. Like the first time I kind of was just too nervous, and I was doing stupid things, but I mean, I guess everybody does that on stage. And then you play against like a team like Dallas, they're not going to mess up on stage. Like they got their shit down. They're going to do everything right. They're not going to make mistakes, but I don't know. In regular season, it's a lot easier to kind of just walk downstairs, set up your keyboard, play where you play every day.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about the crowd cheering every time you die. But yeah, and then I feel like a lot of the times we did kind of just choked. Like stage 1, I feel like we really would have won it if we got past the Dallas Fuel. Like I'm convinced we would have won. And stage 2, 1000% we
Yeah,
choked that
yeah,
at
nah.
stage 2.
Stage 1, I said I think we were the only team that could beat Glady
Yeah,
if
we
we
were
could have got
literally
past
the
other
only team.
teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
then
stage 3, Dallas was just too good. Like
stage
Yeah.
2, that's just me. That was me. That was
Yeah.
no,
actually
that
me.
wasn't you.
That was
We
me. Nah,
choked
I
as a
swear to
whole.
God, that was me. I mean, yeah, a lot of stuff went wrong, but in that meta, like I do think the team that went to losers had the advantage with like all the
Oh,
counter
yeah, they
comping
did.
going on.
Yeah.
Like it was just so frustrating. That's what like, yeah.
Oh, in
But
stage 2, you mean? Because you beat the Gladiators and then.
yeah. So you beat the Gladi and then like the counter comps and then
They
just like
figured a lot of stuff out. in the
yeah,
losing
yeah. And
stage.
then it's like, I mean, we can't have it was kind of hard to have like a backup for a backup. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, especially when you're in
yeah,
the last
or
match.
like a counter
that's
for a
it.
counter, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It was
Yeah.
just like kind of
So
unfortunate.
give me an idea what went on like in the practice room like that day or like the 2 days leading into that. Sorry about my dog in the background. So you're in the upper bracket, you're playing against the Gladiators in the winner bracket final, and you probably feel pretty good about it. You take them down, but then you have to play them again in a rematch. Like what were like the tactical conversations going on? What were your like your VOD reviews? How did you see them as a team? What strategically were you looking to like abuse? What was your edge in that matchup? Like, what were the tactics talk at that time?
So tactics wise was like on it wasn't about like Glads as much. It was about just like playing our own game because like we did feel like we were the best team in that tournament.
Even the Glads say you'd
Yeah.
won.
Yeah, like I mean we actually did like just get off to like a bad first 2 maps and then the third map, you know, that was kind of just like unlucky, you know.
Kind of picked the wrong map too.
Yeah, we might
Should have
have
went
picked
circuit, but we didn't get
yeah, that was
Get the
I don't
Sigma out
know.
of there?
Okay, and we picked Elios the entire tournament and didn't win a single one.
Yeah,
Really?
that was also
Yeah.
very
Oh my god!
cringe.
For the yeah, I had that thread at the time. Because I don't know. I just like why are they picking this map when they have a better one up their sleeve? So
Oh, we had a lot better.
Yeah, no. So I mean, obviously a lot of stuff went wrong, right? But yeah, I mean, like I said, we were just talking about our own gameplay, like what we want to do, how we want to do it, where we want to do it, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't so much talk about like Glads. If anything, it was like if they go this comp, we go that. You know what I mean?
okay,
But nothing
so
about
that's
like
it. Didn't really come down to the micro at that point. Even you're playing the Glads 2 days, you know, twice in 2 days, and then you probably know as well they have Ans, you know, with the Pocket Widow, and he popped off. Like there was nothing really, no like big conversations about that because you were so confident in your own game. Did you feel like you?
yeah.
Did you feel like kind of cheated, like reflected on that tournament, just like damn, like we should have had that, and like
Yeah,
Ans,
no,
he popped
that
off,
like
he had, a one-off
everyone
great
on
game.
Shock will tell you, like last season, that was like the one tournament we like
Yeah,
100% should have won.
it's the only tournament I regret.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's we all have those regrets. Hey, at least you're
Yeah.
still going. Well, let's go to one that actually probably had some positive upswing, which is like the actual playoffs at the very end of the season. Because like as much as you guys came second, you had a pretty miraculous run through the lower bracket. Like, talk me through how that all went because you lost to the Houston Outlaws 3-2 in your first match. So how did you guys come back from that? Coluge, I want to hear from you about like the Mikey subs as well because like you guys kind of went back and forth through those playoffs.
Well, losing the Outlaws, like I said earlier, is probably a good thing for us because we kind of figured that we were playing the game completely wrong, and we all came back after that loss. We looked at it. We realized that Dallas was playing this certain way to where the Sojourn would just slide through everybody. It just flipped the map, and everyone would just flip the map. And we just never did that in the Outlaws game. Like we did it sometimes, but it was more on accident. And getting knocked into the losers is kind of like do or die at that point. You kind of have to change everything up, or else you're going home early. And the Mikey swaps, he's a lot better at cough maps. I don't really know how to explain it, but he's good at taking the chance, like is what Krusty would say. Like he sees the opening, he goes right away. For me, it's like I'm more of a slow kind of hope to wait for the enemy to mess up and then I do something. I don't go first
Yeah.
because I don't know. I'm just more like resource heavy and a slower player, and that's probably why Mikey played in the finals too, is
So no, I'll
because
say yeah.
resource control with the Dallas Fuel, they're always going to be better than you. Like you're not beating them in the resource control, so you either go in fast and just beat them straight up, or just lose slowly over time. But like if I would have played, I probably don't maybe won 2 or 3 maps. I think probably it would have ended in like a 4-2. But yeah, I think Mikey was just better overall at the faster play style.
Yeah, that does seem to be like mimic like Overwatch history as well, because usually when you look at like the very top teams and like what gives the top teams an edge is usually you play the game faster and you just like take more chances, because like at the end of the day, like you can't just like abuse mistakes from like really good teams because they so rarely happen that it's like you just gotta like take charge, like you just gotta go in, you gotta play aggressively, and most of the time those teams actually got sort of an advantage in those matchups themselves. So going into the finals against the Dallas Fuel, considering the fact that you lost to them in the kickoff clash, you lost to them in the Summer Showdown finals as well, and then probably you had that Gladiators loss in the mid-season madness as well that you didn't feel too good about. Were you still just like super confident that like, hey, if we just go into this finals and we just play our game, like we actually have a chance in this? Or did you still feel like, god damn, we always get second, like, or are we cursed? Like, was there some hesitation in that regard?
Yeah, what do we give the truth here?
Oh no! Oh god! Oh no!
All right. So when we were going into the finals, we were like, guys, I think we already won. We got second. All right. We were thinking about after we beat the Outlaws, we just get the confetti going right away. Like we won the league already. Forget the finals. We're not showing up. We're not going to play the Fuel, like as a joke. But
yeah, it was. We all always joke like, hey, we're playing for second this tournament. Hey.
It's good enough for us. But
yeah.
But obviously we gave it our all in the grand finals. I feel like we put up a really good fight. Yeah. It was as close as the grand finals could get.
Yeah.
It was best one we've ever had. And like, a lot of people might think back and look at that mentality and be like, oh, that's, how do you have that mentality? But like, I think having some level of realization that like that mentality probably pushed you to second. And you guys did, as long as you're giving it your all in the grand finals, like you can't ask for anything.
It was just jokes.
Yeah, like,
it was just
right?
jokes.
It's just
to bring up the team morale. Like,
exactly.
Give it our all, win or lose. We gave it our all. So.
Yeah.
It was probably a pretty fun meta to play when it comes to like the variable being the Sojourn, because like your Sojourn could just like pop off and like straight up when you fight as well. How was it like playing alongside Proper in that regard, where Proper can just like play Sojourn just like when you fight and you're like, holy shit, we're just fucking doing it.
You know what's crazy is he hadn't played Sojourn like the entire season.
He wasn't good at it at first.
Yeah. Like it was probably like his worst hero because he's just so good at everything else, right? Just like playtime. Like, and I remember like he was playing ranked when it came out, and I was like, oh, yeah, you're actually. I was like, oh, you're playing ranked. I was like, what's going on? He was like, yeah, just a couple games a day. I was like, oh yeah, just Sojourn. He was like, yeah, that's all I need. And that was all he needs. Like he just.
He didn't need a lot.
He didn't need that many.
It up pretty fast.
That's
but yeah, I mean, it's fun playing with that guy. You think you're gonna lose, and then you look in the top left, I think is where the kills pop up, or top right.
Yeah.
And then you just see 3 kills come out, and you're like, okay, we're winning. I'm walking back from spawn. I'll cap the point for you. I mean, he's ridiculous, that guy.
That guy's...
Is he just like gifted? Like you said, he just plays 2 matches a day and he's like, I'm good. Give me the game, guys.
Yeah, bro. I don't understand it, man. It's so
gifted. He'll wake up.
I don't know, like
take over.
Bro, he'll sleep. He'll be like, oh, I'm so tired. Like I had like the worst nights of sleep. And they'll just kill 5. I'm like, bro, what?
Remember that?
What?
The flu game that he had? That was...
Flu game.
No. It wasn't even the flu game for me. It was that one where his eye was messed up.
Oh yeah, that was good too.
And he was still just dominating. I'm like, bro, like, how do you stop him? Can't stop him out of game. Can't stop him in game. Like,
do you believe he's the MVP? Do you think he's the best player in the game right now?
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
There will never be someone as good as him. Like,
does that give you fear going up against him now in the future? Like knowing what he's capable of?
You can't be scared of your opponent, man.
Yeah. If you're scared of him, you're gonna be playing different. You gotta go at him.
Yeah, I respect that.
I think it's fascinating as well because like, the Atlanta Reign and I guess now the Toronto Defiant mentality as well of just like going in with confidence and like not giving a fuck is actually like a really good playing mindset, because like you play your game and you play aggressive and you don't hesitate, and that's actually how you need to play top level Overwatch. You can't just like hesitate and be careful. Like that's not gonna win you games. So
you gotta not be afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah. So if you're gonna shut down Proper, like that's the mentality you need to have. So Sam, how did it feel like playing? Practicing alongside Proper in that regard? Did you just like go to the facility and you're like, well, do I put in more hours? Like I'm he's just so gifted. He's so talented. Like, Why do
I
as
mean,
a
I was
player to,
never,
like-
ever, I mean, ever going to play over proper. So, and I knew that, like, joining the shock, like, it was either, like he's kind of got that, like, Kevster role. He's never gonna be taken out, ever.
Yeah, you don't take him out.
You just don't take a
Hey, we
player
still
like
won
him.
scrims without him in sometimes though.
Yeah, we would play me and Kilo just
We
like
beat
fuck around.
Shanghai in a scrim with Shang
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Sojourn.
in the playoffs?
Yeah,
Yeah, in the playoffs. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
You want to know my KD going against Lip?
yeah, he went 12-12 and we won. I don't know.
Proper was just laughing at me. Proper was just laughing at me. He was sitting behind me every time I died, like to Lip. Like I'd peek a corner, just instantly die, and he'd just start laughing. I was like, okay,
God.
man. But yeah, no, I would never like. I kind of just like it was either just it was either just me or Kilo playing. Like I kind of knew. I just wasn't. Kilo knew me. We knew. I wasn't gonna. I wasn't like trying to. Oh, I need to get better than proper.
That's your
Nah,
MJ
just-
right there, bro. You don't
Yeah,
take that
yeah.
guy out.
Did playing on the shock with proper or even the coaching staff, did that change either of your guys' approach in like how you practice and like how you view practicing or how to get better at the game?
100%.
They influenced a lot of what I'm
Yeah,
gonna take
really
over into this
quick.
year.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, Johnny, I'm going to take over the host. Let's transition into this year because I think that's a really interesting thing to like. I really want to dig into. Like, you guys have got the band back together. There's been some questions around like your roster, all that type of stuff. How confident are you guys? Because you guys have kind of pulled people from all these different teams at this point and coming back with the reunion. Let's just start off with this. Where is your realistic placement of where you think you are right now in the West?
There's Boston, LA Gladiators. They have
Uh,
just announced
Yeah,
I'm gonna
The Gladiators
go-
don't scare me that much.
Atlanta,
Houston with Fearless.
Shock, Houston.
Atlanta doesn't scare me that
Dallas,
much.
Atlanta
band
doesn't
back
scare
together.
you.
Nah, not really.
Really? That's
Okay, yeah, dude. Like that's my hot.
I'd say
take, dude.
I wanna say top 5. That's
Yeah,
that's
top five, and then I mean, but that's like minimum.
Yeah,
Top five
that's your
percent, yeah.
realistic thing, but you want to go higher than
Yeah.
that.
obviously. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
number
yeah.
one's the goal.
Okay. All right. Well, let's address the elephant in the room right now, Sam. You got answers for me. No Tracer player on the Toronto Defiant has been the shit talk. Yeah, around the Overwatch League scene. Who would be your Tracer player right now, or are you waiting for scrims? And like, are you guys confident that that isn't a hole in your team? Because none of you have really played it in the league anytime recently.
Mm. What do you think?
I mean, we have 4 Tracer players.
We have 30. We have 30 tracer players. I
Yeah,
mean,
four.
speed.
Yeah, Speed will pick
Of
it up.
speed.
I'm not too worried about it.
And
I already see what
then-
he's doing.
If it's like not 100% tracer meta, like it's a hero I can like flex to, but I'd rather not like start the game on it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if that's the kind of thing, but like I can swap to it, but yeah. And then Hydron's okay at it. I mean, honestly, all 3 of us are like
Can
okay
play
at it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not like you know, teams got like you got Glady over here with like Yaki and Kev, you know, but yeah, not a worry for me personally.
All right.
And I'm one of the DPS players, so if I'm not worried, I hope none of the other teams.
Yeah, just play
Goodness.
smarter as well. Like if you can't out mechanic them, just play smarter as well. I gotta ask about Sermajet on this roster. So going back to contenders, Sermajet was on Bobby Wasabi, I believe, for a little bit. So that's probably where like you got to know him and like you played with him before as well. How did Sermajet find himself from European contenders to that team and now to being part of the Toronto Defiant? What's the connection there?
I actually have no clue.
So I'll just say I mean, we have we got a Discord server. It's called it's just our friend group. It's like AT and friends, and he's the only other flex support in there, man. So I mean, also like with our roster, we kind of would feel bad like getting a Korean, like especially like the ones that you know we'd like to play with. They'd be the only Korean on the team. So, you know, why not get Majed, who has chemistry with Hydron? He's got like pretty different, like UV's best heroes are different than Majed's best heroes. So those work
And then
out
you have
really
the
well.
Double flex support metas.
Yeah, and then double flex support and there was the most important thing. What was it?
The 2 new support heroes.
Yeah. The 2 new supports that are coming out. The next
Yeah.
2 heroes are supports. So we figured you know, like why not get a third support? And we just figured Majed would fit best.
Yeah.
I'm curious because like it sounds like you guys had a lot of influence in the building of this roster and the creation of this team. Like how much have you had like with that? Like did you guys go to Toronto and was like these are the guys that we want? It's been a collaboration, or has Kasaurus really had the reins for this team for a lot of it?
I mean, the core, like the DPS. I mean, how did it with Majed? Cass had a lot of influence. Everyone else, no, not really. It was just like, hey, this is the roster.
Yeah, if a team wanted to go NA, they just pick up a package deal. That'll.
Mhm.
Have
So you guys were just
chemistry.
shopping yourself, just be like, here we are. You guys want us? Were there any other teams? Like, I guess I don't know if you guys can answer this. Were there any other teams that were interested, or were you talking to other teams?
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah. I know there was another team involved, but I'm not gonna bring it up because
Yeah, I always, I haven't. That's like one thing I don't talk about. I wonder, can we even talk about that? Like, is it probably
Yeah.
best?
Probably not. Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
going.
I mean, you could say you got offers from
Non-opinionated,
teams, but
yeah.
just don't say.
Yeah,
what the
but I
team
mean, all
is.
the
Yeah,
offers
yeah.
I had were with the AT guys.
Oh
so
yeah,
like,
obviously,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Just don't say what the team is.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually had a
Shanghai
question
Dragons.
going back to our earlier conversation as well, when you guys said like, hey, you know, we wanted to see what it was like to get AT in the Overwatch League. How did it feel like when you guys got your first Overwatch League offers and it was all kind of like all over the place? Was it like, oh, I want a 1-year deal to maybe like go back to AT, but like if someone puts like a 2-year deal, a 2-year Overwatch League deal on the table with decent money, I'm guessing, I don't know what your money is, but like where there's some kind of like temptation to like, I'd rather just sign like a 2-year deal and to like ensure my spot in the league, or
yeah, no,
no?
nope.
I mean, I feel like if someone got like a crazy offer, that like,
Okay,
no one would
like,
be mad about them taking.
yeah,
that.
but it had been crazy.
Yeah, it
'cause,
had to be
like,
out there.
yeah, but I mean, I think the only people who were on 1 years were me and Coluge, and like,
The Shark doesn't make.
yeah,
Besides,
Shock's just like,
if you
if you don't want to
be
stay there, you know, they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not in their
not
best
one of those
interest, right? To have like force players into a contract,
Yeah.
right? We're seeing how that's going in the league.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mentioned before we started recording that I just like fascinated by your guys' Liquipedia pages. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually pull mine up.
I'm gonna see if I can.
I haven't looked at mine.
Bring
We're just
this
looking at
up.
all
So,
the Coluge's names.
Here's Coluge's. Now our cameras are a bit in the way, but your history, you've been part of. I mean, some of these like the dates are like, you know, missing, and there's, you know, 3 stints of goats. There's 2 dark
Overwatch.
mode, and it's all over the place. So I don't know. This is probably this more than 10 teams, definitely. Mine is looking a bit different. Mine is like 3 or 4 teams. So, you know, first of all, what the hell went on here? Like, why were you part of like so many different teams? What was the tier 2 scene like during
Wait, go to your
2018,
overview.
2019?
And it just shows all your previous teams overview.
It was kind of like a thing where
I'm
I don't
lost.
know. There was times where I didn't really want to play the game and focus more on school. So I'd take breaks from the game. I'd quit that team, and then, you know, when I felt like I had a grasp on my, you know, school and stuff, I'd come back and play at a new team. And then I don't know. That's just kind of how it went for me. I never had like consistency with one team besides. Pretty sure it was just dark
AT.
mode and AT. Yeah, those are the only teams I had like consistencies with. But yeah, it was like personal life stuff that where I couldn't like constantly play for, you know, a long time.
Okay.
I kind of had other goals in mind.
Yeah, it seems
And I came
like
back.
you know, considering as well that you continue to study during your first stage in Shock as well. Like, do you still feel like even though you're playing in the Overwatch League now, you have a pretty good idea of like, hey, I want to study. This is what I do in the future. Like, pretty determined.
Oh yeah,
in that regard.
that's why I kind of like that I got into the Overwatch League. I got a lot more connections, and I kind of want to put my foot in the esports store like after all this is over.
That's cool.
Like business and finance, you know, kind of finish my degree up, see what I can get going in esports after. I really do like the atmosphere. I think it's really
Yeah.
a really interesting thing. You know, it's growing. This is like the very beginning of it all.
Yeah, and with
So-
NRG, I feel like me personally, I don't know about you, but like NRG just showed me like a whole nother side to esports that I truly like found a passion for.
I talked to the GM on the SF Shock. He told me like, you know, if you finish your degree, you want to come back and like look into options with us. You know, you you can. I'm not promising anything, but he gave me that option to like, like a communication thing to see what we can do after I'm done with the league.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome to have that like realistic expectation because like there's a lot of people that we know within the league and who have been in the league where it's like they don't have the plan, like a way to transition out because like at the end of the day, you guys have been a part of the league and you can realistically see it's like at some point it's going to come to an end. Having something to show for that is like super important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, esports is way too volatile. Like you never know when it's your last year. I mean,
Yeah.
You could have one bad year and then you go to a bad team and then that's actually your last year and then you're done probably
Yep.
forever. Then you kind of just get too old for it. So.
Yeah.
What about you, Sam?
What, like after the owl?
Yeah, sure. I mean, do you have like any aspirations besides owl, or you just
I
kind of
was
like want to
doing.
play video games for now?
I've got a good bit of school done. What, like 3 semesters? So like a year and a half of school done.
Probably just go back.
Yeah, I'll probably just like go back. Content creation, I really like streaming. That's something like I've really been like going hard with this year.
Yeah. What's your Twitch?
I feel like S9MMOW, same as my Twitter. Yeah, I've been going pretty hard with content this year. I really wanted to go hard with it on Shock, but I could not bring myself to practice Overwatch 1 when Overwatch 2. Like I just didn't feel like it was the best for like me as a player, So, but yeah, I mean, probably after I'll probably just college and streaming, just chill.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Would you ever go to collegiate? Because like there's been a lot of people starting to move to collegiate. There's some good deals going out there. Like a couple of the players took that recently. Like, would you ever?
Yeah,
think
I might go back to my old collegiate school, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
What I'm doing too, going back to the Ville.
Yeah, how was that? How was that like playing in collegiate? Because obviously I have no experience, I have no insight whatever into the collegiate scene. Is it sort of just like you go study and then you play some games on the side, or like?
The top schools are pretty professional, man. ISU, I don't know about Maryville. ISU
really professional.
ISU is really professional. Like end of the day, you have scrims. You go to the facility. Honestly, pretty similar to like an owl facility. It was me, Hydron, Ultraviolet, Reiner, Luke Mino, Iron, and Wheats. The facility scrim, review all that stuff, and go home.
Like the same thing on Maryville. Give you a full ride, give you like a food stipend, give you like really nice computers to play at. Try to make like the facility as nice as possible for the students. So, I mean, it's really cool. Yeah. I really think that's definitely the future in the lower like tier 2 scene. I think a lot more schools step up their game. I think it's a game changer for esports in general.
Because how competitive? Sorry, Johnny. How competitive was it? Like, how many other teams were really putting their best foot forward when you guys were a part of collegiate?
I think there's
like 4 teams.
4 teams?
What? I'd say Northwood, Maryville, ISU, Harrisburg.
Yeah, about 4 teams. And then you have like the teams like there's teams that give like half scholarships or like certain deals.
Yeah, there's like 2 more now. I'd say Boise State and what's that? Fisher.
Yeah, but a lot of the colleges are getting into Valorant too and stuff like that. So I mean, that's good to see like esports in general to kind of make its way into college.
What's like the vibes around like how you value your education and like going to college and stuff like that? When you talk to your peers, like your friends that you played with, for example, like Maryville now, they have a roster of King, Mikey, Balls is on there, Joby is on there. Like, not specifically talking to those guys, but like, is the reality that some of those players are just like, well, I'd rather just like go to school and play for a collegiate team over playing in the Overwatch League. Like, I don't want to play for like a bottom Overwatch League team if I can just go to school instead and get my degree.
I've already said this. Mikey could have been in the league this year. He chose not to.
He wants to better his like education and stuff because he wants to like kind of I think move on from the gaming thing. So I mean that's like the best thing you could do because he still likes playing the game. So he gets to go to school, play the game, and advance towards something else while still playing. And I feel like that's really what everyone in tier 2 should be doing. Is if you can get on a collegiate team, go as fast as you can.
Yeah,
like that is the best thing you can do. And I don't know, like personally for me, if I was offered like a minimum contract in Overwatch League, I would definitely just go back to collegiate because you got to think about it. The scholarships probably $50K a year. They pay for your food, you get your computer, and you're working towards your degree.
Housing.
I mean, Yeah, like
Yep.
it's like I don't know, like it's like an owl contract pretty much.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Do
yeah.
you think that there's maybe so you know I think a lot of people actually probably share that sentiment at this point. I mean, there's 20 teams in the Overwatch League. You probably know from the bat that like whether you're going to be competing for the title, whether you're going to be like a middle of the pack team, and I'd say it's certainly different for European players. Because quite frankly, it's different there. For example, in Sweden, you don't have to worry about paying for college to begin with.
Yeah.
Or actually, I might get that wrong. Sorry. I think there's still some cost tied, but there's some subsidized stuff going into
the
it. But,
US is crazy.
yeah, but if you go to the Overwatch League, the money you make in Overwatch League, even though it's not like a huge contract, that's actually quite substantial money, even in Europe, for example, compared with the average salaries. So when it comes to North America, like are there maybe like too many teams in the league at that point then? Because it does seem kind of twisted that there are 20 teams in the league, and a lot of this, or not a lot, but some players are now choosing to instead pursue collegiate because they realize that there's no like real value to playing for like a bottom Overwatch League team if you can just get a degree instead and actually get some of the same benefits.
Yeah, and you got to think about it too. Like you're not getting paid year round. You're getting paid for the months that you're playing the game, and then you got to pay for your food because I don't know how the other teams do it. Some teams don't pay for food or housing. I don't know how it works, but you also got to put in like taxes and stuff. So like if you're on 55 grand, let's say, you're getting paid for what, 8 months, and then that's getting taxed. So like how much you're not making 55 grand a year.
Yeah.
And that's not livable like in the US. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I really think if you have the option, collegiate is better because you have somewhere to stay, you're working towards your degree, and you kind of have like a secure option. Because also when it comes to esports, you never know where you're gonna end up the next year. Like I had no clue that I was gonna come here. I mean, it's an insane thing to be in. So
Yeah.
you always want to be safe when it comes to careers.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you get your foot out the door. Like when I left to get to the US, like from Sweden, I was like, oh, it's a whole new world. Like it's crazy. Like I'm in Los Angeles now. This is crazy. I was like in the middle of nowhere in Sweden, and now I got this whole world open up to me, and there's so much shit going on. So it's quite interesting because you spent almost like 4 years in tier 2, I think, Coluge, like on and off because you were studying at the time, and now collegiate just seems like the next big thing in that regard. So you're saying that collegiate is like should probably be like the next tier 2. Do you think contenders is a good concept at all? Like, do you think it's a good breeding ground for players to compete in and like get opportunity?
I mean, the best collegiate teams play in contenders. So I mean,
Yeah.
Like
But,
ISU, the team that I was on, like we just played in contenders.
I don't know.
I don't think contenders should just be like deleted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it should still
right
be
now,
there.
like there's
'Cause-
collegiate tournament and there's the contenders tournament at the same time.
Mhm.
I'm guessing. So
I feel like
there's-
it would be better if it was together, but it's hard for like 15-year-olds to be in college. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so if you want to see like the younger talent, like the kids that are like like under 17 that can't go to college, I feel like it's a good scene to have because you do want to see the up and coming talent. Like there's a lot of kids that are really good at the game and they want to compete, and it's good to have people see these players before they come into the league. Like I don't know, you guys saw all of O2 Blast; they couldn't come into the league, and they probably could have been a top owl team right away, and they were all like I don't know 15, 16. So if you delete that, you kind of get rid of that whole aspect, and I feel like that's just bad overall for the game.
Yeah.
Like competing in general, because you don't have a good tier 2 scene. It's really hard for people to want to try to get into the Overwatch League. And there's there's no stepping stone to get into.
Right now, I feel like contenders, it's like good for the people that are like 15, like or like like 17 and below, but it's bad for if you're like 18, like 17 or
terrible.
above. Yeah, like that's kind of where it's at.
I'm actually curious because like you guys have been in contenders. How much realistically, like let's say you're like first or second best team in contenders, how much money do you realistically make in a year, right? Like you're like 19, 20, like it's probably not enough to self-sustain yourself, right?
No, not at all.
It's because like 10 grand.
It's like 10 grand a year, right? Like, so it's like collegiate's obviously great if you're older for those reasons, as you said, but a 16-year-old kid can play in contenders because they're probably staying with their parents. They probably don't have that many expenses to go with. So I completely agree having that they should be able to complement each other in a way of like collegiate competes in its own circuit that's good for the schools, while also propping up contenders in a way of like providing support, because over the last few years, almost every single Overwatch League team has pulled out of supporting contenders because it's just not financially viable for them, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you look at games like Valorant, and you have a way to get into the big stages. I feel like that's the big difference with Overwatch. Kind of tier 2, you're locked in tier 2. That's your box. You know,
Yeah, that's
you
like
have
my
to be
thing.
18 to get out first, and then you have to
Mhm.
be good enough.
Why invest into something that you're just like stuck in? You know what I mean?
Like
Yeah.
there's nothing you could do to get out of it. Like I like the ability, like that's why I like the Pro AM. Like you get to play in the tournament with the other big teams. Like you have your chance to show the world how good you are. You get to show the other teams that you're good enough to compete in the Overwatch League. But you know, they didn't have that in the past. Like you had the scrim bucks pretty much, and nobody got to see your scrims, so they didn't even believe you at first. Like AT beating all of the top AWL teams. There's a Reddit thread. They're like, yeah, I think they're lying. There's no way they'd beat the Overwatch League teams. And it's like, dude, like, why would I
What do you
lie?
want from us? Yeah, like why would you lie about that stuff, right? Like, well,
what do you want from me?
so you guys like the Prime? You like the new season structure coming up? Like, I obviously you guys are now an hour, so it doesn't support you. But like, do you like the idea that you're going to be able to go against these contenders, guys?
Yeah.
You know, in a month, right?
It's gonna be so much fun. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be really cool.
I do love the Pro Am, but I mean, to be the rest of the season,
Yeah, I don't like.
it's half off season, bro. We get half the amount of tournaments, half the teams, and the
Not a fan
tournaments.
of it.
Yeah, it's just strange to me.
Just because of the amount of downtime. Like, I think it's going to be less regular season games, obviously, two less
Yeah.
tournaments and stuff like that.
Everything's less.
Would you guys be okay with it as long as they deliver actually on like having these mini tournaments? Like, you know, Sam, you said you're getting into streaming. If they do start doing, you know, in some of these bio weeks, these like content creator tournaments, is that something that would fill that niche, or you're still like, I'm in the Overwatch League, I want to compete in the Overwatch League?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's like I'm in the Overwatch League. I want to compete. I mean, like I don't know who Thanos snapped the Overwatch League, but like this is like I when I saw the format, I was just like, 6 teams are going like to this mid-season tournament.
Yeah, that's
You're gonna
3
fly
matches,
out
bro.
to a tournament and play 3 matches. Come on, man. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I like running the gauntlet, man. It's so much fun. You got to play like 3 matches in one day. Like that's, I don't know. I feel like that's a lot more fun to me. And then you have all the teams come and you get to hang out with them. I don't know.
So the devil's advocate take would kind of be like, well, you know, we want to send the best teams. Like the best teams need to earn it, and they need to be sent to, you know, a tournament bracket. So you were actually part of the Shock last year, which were like the regular season champs in that regard. Did you feel like you look at like the Hangzhou Spark and how they got into like the play-ins to the playoffs? And then they got third? Was that like, to you guys, was that like a great story, or did you ever feel like, oh, I mean, they shouldn't have been in the first place, like they didn't deserve?
Oh, it's a great story. And then I mean, another thing is like tournaments are just more fun when I think there's more teams, because you do get to see stuff like that, you know, like the Spark.
You see the underdog like just pop off randomly, like
pop up. Like you see Shy and Goose Ray just start taking over, and it's like,
I mean,
good team gets first rounded.
Yeah.
They were entertaining to watch, and I mean, I just think that that's just why I think there should be more than 6 teams at a tournament.
Yeah, it adds like a whole new dynamic to it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you have 6 teams, you kind of get the gist of what's going to be played. You have 12 teams, like one team could be doing this and just run through the bracket and
completely flip the tournament around. I don't know.
Change the way the entire tournament is going to be played, like the whole meta and everything. But
yeah. So how did you guys feel about the regular season last year? Because I think, you know, the fact of the matter is it's a league. We're going to have regular season games, but I think everyone agrees that tournaments are way more fun. Tournaments is the way to go. And when you follow other esports like Valorant, you know, this lock-in thing they're doing now with like single limb brackets, like it sucks for the competitors, but it's really fun to just watch teams like put their life on the line every single match. So you know, how did you guys feel about the regular season in that regard? Did those matches feel like a bit pointless, or did you still feel like, hey, you know, this is?
I actually love the regular season, to be honest, because I mean that's just when like these like crazy moments. I don't know. It's just like it's not like an all stakes game, you know, for most teams, unless you're like 2-3 and need to win a match to go to like qualify or something. But like,
it's cool because you get to see those matches too, though.
Yeah, you get to just just kind of chill little matches, not anything crazy, but I mean some cool stuff happens in those matches, and get to see the players like not on stage, like personality and stuff. I don't mind the regular season actually.
I think it's cool.
I also think there's a lot of identity that comes in the regular season of these
Yeah,
teams,
yeah.
right? Like everyone has their tournament identity, but there's like it also gives the teams and the players the opportunity to just like chill out. Like Sam, you had some fucking weird antics this year, and like showing up on the selection show and stuff like that, right? Like that's fun, right? Like, and I think that adds so much to the league. And I like that we have less regular season games, but I'm completely with you guys of there's a world in which we go, how long is this season? 7 or 8 months. And with only 2 major tournaments, it could feel just like very empty. So I hope that, they have something cooking and that there should be things to fill that out. Maybe the World Cup. Like I assume you guys are going to try and be on the World Cup team this year coming up. So
are you?
Hey, not giving away Team Australia strats early.
Come on. Okay. I'm just checking up, man.
That's a threat, man. You better not.
Hey, I've been playing ranked with you guys recently. You're not in trouble from me at all. That's fine.
Oh, I know. I got you and Jaws, man.
Dude, we are sabotaging games right now. The ranked
good.
I think didn't they fix that bug yesterday that low ranked players can't?
Yeah, but they're GM
anymore.
Yeah, well, GM, you can't get rid of us that easy.
So like I have to get them no matter what.
Yeah, you're stuck with us.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Ranked these days. Wow.
That's crazy.
So we've kind of like beaten around the bush for a little bit. Well, let's make a wish list here. Let's make a format Overwatch Esports wish list. So I'm guessing first on the list, more tournaments, invite more teams to the tournaments, like Mid-Season Madness. And the playoffs, you just want to have like 12-team playoffs still.
Yeah.
Get the Pro-Am as well. Great tournament at the start of the year.
I think we should have a two Pro-Ams a year would be my wish list.
Okay. How about Tier 2 integration on the wish list? How do you feel about Tier 2 integration? Like the East this year, they're just like, yellow contenders teams qualify and play in the Overwatch League. Would you like to see that as well in the Western region?
So the thing is that the Korean teams are actually probably good enough to play in the Overwatch League. There's like maybe one NA team.
You guys have been talking the entire podcast just like, we were beating all the OWL teams, 80
Okay, well that was us. No, the
team was like a one-off team.
Yeah, but I mean, the best NA contenders team right now is they're good. Not like O2 good though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They could probably be like middle of the pack, bottom. Maybe I'm giving them too much. I don't know.
Whoa. Well, hey, the good thing is we'll get answers in a month, right? Like when we get through this Pro-Am, right? Like we'll be able to see like you guys put your money where your mouth is. And that's the exciting thing. I agree that it needs to be. I like the East format because they go into the knockout stages. Like only the best ones go into the knockout stages. So they get their chance, but I feel like you're not giving like too much time because it's going to be really boring to watch if the middle of the pack Overwatch League teams are just crushing through these contenders teams because that's not as fun. It's going to be fun if we see these like crazy stories, but if that doesn't happen, it's just going to be kind of almost uninspiring to the viewer.
Yeah.
Paris Eternal and Los Angeles Valiant and stuff like.
But they're not going to be in the knockouts themselves, right? Like they're also not going to qualify for the knockouts. So it's like I'm worried that we won't see that.
Before I forget, wish list. I like group stages a lot, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I do think we should see more group stages.
So you like the Pro-Am format? Like that's kind of how they're doing it. They're doing like a week of group stages or something like that, and then into a tournament style.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do in the World Cup too, right?
Yeah,
usually, the countries.
I like that
groups,
too.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. How do you feel about the World Cup? Do you feel like it's actually like a competitive kind of thing? Because obviously, like when you guys will be trying out for your team, there will be a lot of competition. Do you still feel like it's a good tournament to fill out the calendar, or do you feel like it's kind of like, we'd rather just have like Overwatch League tournaments or collegiate tournaments or whatever on the schedule?
I like the World Cup, man. I feel like it brings like a whole different aspect into the game. It's like kind of like a country pride type of thing.
Yeah, I like the
really
World
like
Cup
that.
too. But if if that's a reason that the Overwatch League is having like less tournaments or less matches,
I don't like that.
I don't like that at all. Like I don't. I just they're two separate things, man. Like you can't make an excuse for one or the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see that. I think the only thing that might be an issue is scheduling because of the year, right? Like if they do want to do proper knockout, like scheduling, like because that's one of the reasons that in 2019 that was a big issue. The last time there was a World Cup because South Korean just didn't even put their best players forward because the players like, I just want to go home, man. I'm just tired. Like it's been a hard year, so I think it's going to be hard to keep that balance. Like I think for this year, everyone's going to be hyped. Everyone's going to want to play in it. It's going to be a fucking lit event. But in the future, they need to make sure that there is that balance of running it while also giving players the time to want to participate in the way. So
yeah, plus
we'll
it's hard like playing with a whole group, like a new group of players, and then you gotta come back to your old team too. Like it's a really weird dynamic that you gotta go through. But like for us, I feel like we might have lucked out. I feel like we could all just play on Team America. So
hopefully.
Cool. Yeah.
All right. I got one more question here about the formats and the esports circuit before we move on and maybe talk a bit more about the game to wrap up this interview. But I wanted to ask you about the off-season length, because this also has been a topic on Yiska's podcast as well, where he talked about the general managers, and the general managers were like, hey, I mean, we're just sitting on our hands. Like, some of us got rosters ready to go. We're ready to like start competing, start playing as well. And like, we don't need the off-season to be much longer than like maybe 2 months, 3 months, and then we're ready to go. How do you guys feel as players? Because now it's been a bit more than 3 months. Am I wrong? 4 months? Has it been 4 months?
November, December, January, February.
Yeah, something like that. So how do you guys feel like in the off season? Have you just like been waiting? Is it boring? Like, does it feel good to get some rest finally? Like, what's your vibes?
This is my thing, okay? It's probably Coluge thing. I love the off season when I can get paid. This off season, I couldn't get paid. So it was so annoying. Like the November all the way to like the 23rd of December, I'm just like, dude, come on. Like, let me sign my contract. Like, but yeah, I don't mind the long off seasons if I'm getting paid. Me personally.
Well, I like my break. Like, I feel like everyone needs a break. You're going through the most stressful thing. But I don't think it needs to be as long as it is. I feel like it's kinda, it kind of gets boring after like okay, I got 2 months off. I stayed at home. I talked to all my family. I'm ready to go next season because I mean, my job. I have nothing else going on unless it's Overwatch League.
How long do we think the off season should be? What do you guys think?
Well, I think it should be 3 months. Yeah, and I think the season should run for 9 months with a good break in the middle. Like, there should be like a 3 to 4 week break in the middle where like you have this big mid-season tournament that would, so it's almost like we have like 2 seasons in a year, like 2 playoffs in a year. That's kind of what like League does with like like they have MSI and then they have Worlds. I think it keeps interest throughout the whole year. I think it gives players a break. I just think overall it's better. And the viewership, like, we popped off in the grand finals. We had crazy viewership in the grand finals recently. The game was rolling, and then we like don't do anything for 4 months, and now nobody gives a shit about us anymore, right? Like,
heartbreaking.
Yeah, that was the most viewed grand finals too, right?
Oh yeah, by a long way. You know, and you can say
stopped all the momentum, man, right away.
Yeah. And you can say it was because of drops, but fuck it, I don't care if it's because of drops. That's still viewership, and that's still people who are still gonna watch the games and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just frustrating.
No, I would I haven't really thought about like how long in the off season, but I think that'd be good. 3 months off season, then 9 month year. That'd be.
Yeah, even something to look forward to, like a Christmas special invitational tournament of some kind. And like some Overwatch League teams, they're not going to have rosters to field for that, but you can get some Overwatch League pros in and get like a Christmas tournament, and you play like Christmas maps only or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, and you can even have like I don't know, the Saudi E-League had a tournament in December, I think.
And they had a gauntlet
like
as well.
Like if you have something like, I don't know, go make a contract owl in Saudi League and host something in Saudi. Like, I mean, I feel like that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like some mid-season tournament, you know, start making deals.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel, Custa, but like if the Pro-Am like went live this week, I wouldn't have minded, and maybe we had like contenders qualification start like a month ago, like mid-January, because then you get January, December, and like half of January off. I mean, that's 10, 12 weeks. That would have been fine with me, but here we are.
Well, it's like the Pro-Am is kind of like preseason to me. Like, that's what I'm kind of taking it is like, this is going to be my first look at the teams. It doesn't count towards any points or anything like that.
Yeah.
We're just going to get a look. Contenders teams come in. Like, you could do the Pro-Am in like a late January. Don't even have a requirement that the Overwatch League teams need all these players. Like, you just got to field a roster.
Yeah,
you can sign people temporarily, right? Like,
yeah, that's what I was like saying. I was like, why, like, I feel we shouldn't like require or force the teams to do this Pro-Am, because if it's not going to count towards the regular season, they can just like at least field a roster or something, like some like maybe temporary.
Yeah,
or maybe that could be their roster trial process. Go perform in the Pro-Am, get a contract. I don't know.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
And then that's an opportunity for contenders players to shop themselves as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm showing up to the Pro-Am. I did well in the Overwatch against the Overwatch League teams. Hey, look at me. You can sign me, right? Yeah, like that could happen. Like, that could still happen in this Pro-Am, but it's a great idea. and it's obviously the first iteration of it, but I think definitely moving it earlier would be good for the league in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I joked on last week's episode, which was yesterday, that the LA Valiant, they announced that they're going to the NA region. They should just pick up the best pro-am team. Like if they're not gonna play, if they don't have a roster, like just pick up the best performing pro-am team for the league. Then off you go.
I wonder what Valiant's doing.
Yeah, well,
So
you guys
I-
murdered your team murdered them straight off the bat. They were like 12 minutes in, and you guys already said that
social
they were
media, yeah.
trash. Yeah, your social media guys.
It was
so.
I'm pretty sure like OG asked them if they could do that.
Really?
Yeah.
We need to get OG and Ultraviolet on.
I don't know.
That's
Oh
hilarious.
God, man.
Yeah.
No, you need to get Speed on here too. That
No,
guy-
Speed would never
Really?
come on. Nah.
Yeah, no.
But he'd be
the
funny,
Atlanta
though.
guys. It's just like the level of delusion between like all the AT players and then the Atlanta players. It's just a big
Yeah,
gap.
they're like up here and we're like all the way down here.
Well, how do you feel about that, like, embodiment that the Toronto and your team is given of you're like the bad boys of the league? Do you like it? Do you have fun with it? Because obviously it's fun bants, but then some of the community take it too far sometimes. Like, how do you feel about that?
And they just say that because we're American, right?
Well, why am I even the
that's
bad guy? I'm a good guy, man.
Yeah, I'm a chill guy, man. I'm not a bad
I
guy.
like trash talking. I don't like, I like the respectfulness. Like it's cool, but
Yeah.
you look at Call of Duty, man. I love seeing the players get up, just flip each other off across the stage.
Yeah.
Like screaming cuss words at them. I mean, it gets the fans like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
No, I
content,
mean,
man. I like it.
Yeah, it's just fun.
but, I
man.
mean, we'll do like I said this on stream. The only team I plan to regularly shit talk is the Vegas Eternal. That is.
Why? What did the Vegas Eternal do? Like,
I mean, I shit talk them in contenders, and so
You just gotta do it?
carrying that. Yeah, carry that in towel. Yeah.
so like,
now they-
okay, I'm envisioning this. What's gonna happen? You're gonna shit talk them. Obviously, for you, it's just bants. It's fun. You know those guys. Like you've been around them forever. They're gonna say, "Oh my god, you're shitting on a bottom tier team," right? Let's just say Paris isn't gonna be that good, right? How do you feel? Like, how do you react to that kind of stuff? Because like, obviously, Reiner is the greatest example of that. Of came in with a lot of banter and then just got fucking crushed by the community for no reason. Like, how do you feel about that? Does that worry you?
I mean, hopefully not, because it's the only team I'll shit talk. So
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I don't like how the community shits on people for shit talking.
Did Reiner? I actually thought a lot of people were like supporting his.
No,
his shit talk.
it was him complaining about the queen.
The
meta, bro.
Jotes was the worst one. Yeah,
It was
when
the
he really got
funniest
slanted.
thing ever.
Okay,
bro.
like I'm sorry, but that
So
like
funny.
dude, I think about that tweet so much, like where he said like Dallas. I'm happy Dallas got their first championship, but like it
Doesn't
doesn't really count. Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't count. The
funny.
Glads just improved too late. So
Oh
in my
my
books,
God.
we were back to back champ. Now, what's funny is like he'll be the craziest stuff with Reiner is you'll be in a Discord call with them. Everyone's just talking, chilling, and like that tweet will drop like while you're talking to him. Like he'll like he's just like sitting on Discord typing it with like a straight face. Like you don't even hear him chuckle or anything. He is actually just a maniac, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a freak of nature.
Are you guys gonna miss him on the AT team? Like, would you have felt more comfortable if he was here? Obviously, he has his own stuff going through, but like, do you guys think you're gonna miss him for this roster?
Yeah.
Oh
100%.
yeah, I still talk to him like every day. I mean, he's
we still
he's
talk to
just
him
a
every
good
day.
guy overall. Having him on the team too, I think we would have been like a real powerhouse as a tank line.
I
You
mean,
think there's
I
a
think it's safe
chance
to
he
say
comes
he was.
back?
Yeah, 100%.
That guy,
I think,
he might have been the best tank in the league. I'm not
Yeah,
even
no, I was gonna say that was probably our best player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people put Smurf above him, but I put Reiner like right at the top. Like in terms of
Wow.
flexibility and mechanics on all heroes. Like
I
even
mean,
his
I
Sig
think-
got pretty.
I think
good.
it's pretty like reasonable to say he's the best dive tank in the league.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
he's ridiculously good at the game. I don't know why, because he used to play DPS, but
Just one of
maybe
those guys who's just
Yeah,
good at
maybe-
everything, right?
in his genetics, I guess he's like a proper of tank. I don't know.
Which
Reiner,
is funny.
the proper of tank. I love that. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that one.
As I said, it's just kind of funny because like us as like the talent, like we talk, we hype up Smurf all the time. We always do that, but like it's funny consistently, especially North American players and like people who exist in the North American region, they hype up Reiner way more than we have ever done so on the talent team. So it's interesting getting your perspective of like you guys obviously know better than us. You're in scrims, you've played with him, you played against him. So it's sad to see. Hopefully we get to see him come back soon because as you said, the proper of tanks is quite the title.
Yeah, I think he'll be back. I don't know.
He
I don't know what
loves
team.
competing.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you had anything else to ask about the league and the format. Otherwise, we could jump into the game.
Yeah, let's talk about the game. I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear what you guys have to say.
I,
boy.
you know,
Alright, let's go.
all of 2022, it seemed
Yeah,
like
okay,
Sam was quite
Warm up.
opinionated last year.
Warm up for this one. All right.
Hey, you had developer access. You know, you could have friendly chats and give your opinion on the game and suggest balance changes and stuff like that. Sam, so
What are your thoughts on the developer access?
how was that?
Oh, when they were doing everything right.
Oh yeah.
Seriously, during the developer access, like when we had Overwatch 2 access, I said that was the most perfect Overwatch patches I've ever seen in my entire life.
Stage 2 was like as good as it gets.
Yes,
man.
yes, they listened to all of our feedback, and like every single player, like it was so nice. They responded, talked about it, asked questions, like everything felt meaningful. The patches moved like the game forward in like a healthy direction, and it's super unfortunate that as they have more stuff to work on now. As talking to the devs, like I also like I've kind of realized like why that kind of stops. And yeah, there's limits, and it's unfortunate, but man, like experiencing that communication between the devs and players was awesome.
Yeah, so I just want to clarify this situation as well, because quite frankly, Sam, I think that some of the community, they perceive you as a bit of like an asshole to the developers and like some of those tweets at times and the comments and stuff like that. But just like breaking that down and like making it constructive from your point of view, you're saying essentially that at the start of the season, they gave the Overwatch League this beta and they did give developer access. So you could have some there were Discord channels and you could talk about stuff, you could suggest changes, and like you could send screenshots of maps and be like, hey, this spawn area is a bit too too far because like it makes things imbalanced or like whatever stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that kind of dropped off? Is that sort of what instigated your reaction to this developer
relationship? I mean, it's like how for me, like the breaking point was, I mean, we just saw like what Broken Heroes did with Overwatch 1, like keeping a character that's like way too good, like too good for too long. And then, I mean, think about like Sojourn and Kiri. Like, how many times do we like realistically have to type in that channel? Like,
yeah, this is a problem, right?
And then it's like, oh, well, maybe they're not listening to the Overwatch League Discord. No, I know the content creators are complaining about it too, because the whole community is complaining about it. It's like at that point, like, what do we seriously need to do more? It's super frustrating.
So I take it doesn't need clarification that your thoughts on like game balance and like balancing these heroes, you probably understand that there's a lot that goes into it. You have Nintendo Switch players playing it, and there's console and all of that, but I'm guessing you sort of believe wholeheartedly that like the game should be balanced around pro players, because that's when the game is played at its best.
Here's like my opinion. I think overall, like the overall balance of the game should be balanced from the top down. But we know when they nerfed Genji, and the reasoning was Genji was dominating too hard in the lower ranks. Like that's like a change. I'm not, like it doesn't like. At least they gave me that reason. You know what I mean? It's not. I'm not too mad about it. But I do think like overall, I do think the game should be balanced top down.
I just think it makes it fresh. Like if one hero is dominating and ranked for like 4 weeks, let's say, like that's okay. Like every hero is gonna have its good moment, but if it keeps like if there's a bunch of changes that come out and that hero's still just annoying to play against and just hard meta, it kind of gets stale after a while. You don't want to play like the Orisa shit. Like my god, man, I call it the tank equalizer. I'm dominating the enemy tank, they go Orisa, I can't do anything else anymore.
Yeah,
it's just the way the hero is. It's not gonna die.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think the game should be balanced from the top down?
Well, here's the thing. Like, I actually don't think. How long was Orisa hard meta for? Right? Like, that actually wasn't that long. That was like, was that one season? That was like
no, but it's still broken though.
Yeah. Oh, it was fucking awful. Like, we can all agree. Like, that thing was literally straight unkillable. But I agree with you guys that I like it if they are aggressively balancing. I don't mind if they buff the shit out of something. Right? They did that with Wrecking Ball. Maybe we're gonna play a shit ton of Wrecking Ball. It's fun, right? My problem exists when Kiriko has been overpowered since its inception, primarily because of the movement being on such a short cooldown, the Suzu just being able to do too much on such a short cooldown, then the healing, right? So they nerfed the healing, they gave that a pass, but I was shook when we came into this season and we didn't see a Suzu change in any form, right? And that's where my frustrations lie of like, how strong this character is, but they keep nerfing the characters that are benefiting from the value of Kiriko, right? Roadhog, Orisa, Ramatra, right? They're all overpowered in their own way because they're strong heroes, but because Kiriko exists to enable them as well, right? So that's my problem. I think sometimes they're looking at the numbers of the unmirrored win rates and that kind of shit, but I think sometimes they're not just like taking an objective look at the game, which is what you pro players are doing and us at the high level are trying to do, is like, here's the problem, right? Like that this just needs to be looked at. And I feel like that's going under the rug a little bit too much as of late. While I agree with Sam, early on in the beta, early on in the game, they were very receptive to our feedback. And I think we've fallen away from that a little bit.
Yeah, I also think the game should be balanced from the top down. Like, I've sort of believed in like the trickle down balance, that essentially like if you balance it to the pros are happy with the game, then you'll find the lower ranks like gold, silver, like they'll generally have a pretty good time playing the game as well. Because someone in gold is going to pick up from some streamer and they'll play the best hero. And while they might not be able to maximize the value from how good a hero is, they'll still have like a slightly smaller edge. And like, I think there's some, they'll play it more in those ranks as a result. So I guess what like really threw me off when it came to the second half of the season is stuff like, Junker Queen was introduced and like everyone was just like, well, Shout is going to be a problem because like you give movement speed and you're giving health. And like, I think most people in that Discord, I can't recall the conversations. Where like, hey,
I mean, dude, good God,
pretty
how many
overpowered.
times do we have to tell them like, yo, this is gonna be game revolution, like
it's like
revolutionize the game.
bro.
I was like, everyone said that, and then
and then to add on top of that, the Doomfist changes came later on, which a lot of pros also disagreed with. So it felt like a bit of a snowball kind of thing in Discord, where start of the season, they're very responsive to feedback and they're making changes accordingly. Then Junker Queen is introduced and we're like, this is a bad idea. And then Doomfist is changed and all the Doomfist players are like, well, what are you guys doing with our hero? Like, you made it way less powerful and way less fun. It's just like a useless hero now. And also because the game is being released, there's less feedback, there's less interaction between the players and the devs. So that's kind of like where it broke down.
Yeah, the funny thing about that Doom change, by the way, is how he had a slow for 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
The most the most necessary thing in Overwatch 2 ever.
I know, but the Queen came out with the shout and the speed boost. Think about if Doom had slow. Okay.
Yeah.
You could slow an entire group of 5 people, and I feel like that would have been the counter to the comp, but they nerfed that hero as soon as they put out Queen. So that was like
everyone has said that slow is such like a necessary thing.
Like
to
even
Overwatch.
if they
So these this death ball
like,
stuff is just like it's not viable all the time, But I mean, the thing is the reason people are complaining about the slow is someone could be over here and you could slam here, and that slow would still slow them just as much as like the people here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we just said nerf it, but they just removed it, and then they haven't added it back.
I actually think that's one thing that I've been frustrated with the devs, and I think Genji is the biggest example of this. Of there is a way to nerf things without having and adversely affect each rank in which it's a problem, right? Like, I don't think you need to nerf Doomfist slow, as you said. If it just hits everyone, it's too easy to use. But then if you make it so that the way that you have to use it makes it strong, is good. And I think Genji is like, you can't just give him, what was it, 2 less damage on a shuriken. It's like you can change him. Yeah, and you can change him in a way that makes him worse for the lower end while also not affecting him too much in the higher end. I can't spitball anything right now, but like that has happened in the past. And I think Doomfist, when Doomfist got the pass, Get Quaked On and Dante both said, you've buffed him so heavily, he's going to become overpowered for everyone, and then you're just going to nerf him back. It's not the right change.
It's like it's easy to use abilities that get high value. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Junker Queen Shout, I give everyone on my team, what was it, 100 HP?
Yeah.
They don't even have to be that close to me, and speed boost. Like, that's not hard. I click shift, bang, I win the team fight.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I just hate like heroes like that. Like, if it's hard to hit something, but it gives a lot of value, I feel like it's perfect for the game.
I mean, here's a good change for if like Genji's one-shotting too many people. All right, nerf his damage, increase fire rate.
Yeah.
Like that was like a perfect thing. Or like,
I mean, Sojourn is pretty applicable. Like, if people are annoyed by mercy boosting Sojourn one shots, then find a way to negate that without like nerfing the hero totally.
We don't even need the damage boost. You kind of just tap somebody and then headshot them, and they're gonna die anyways. You don't really need the damage boost. But
yeah. So if you had like a, you know, if the developers are watching the show, like what would you say to them? Not in terms of like balance changes, but you would just be like, hey, like, you know, we'd like to restore those relations, and like you'd be able to, you know, talk with you guys more often, and like you have productive feedback sessions. Like, I don't know if you have a player Discord now. It's obviously like the next season hasn't started yet, but how would you like to go back to that you had early on last season? No?
Yeah, there's no going back to that.
Yeah, you can't. I already. It's not like I said that they have limits over there at Blizzard. You know, they're working on other stuff. It just can't.
Okay.
It's not possible.
So speaking more about the balance changes, how do you feel about the balance changes going into season 3? How do you feel like where the balance is at currently? Yeah,
it's good balance. Yeah.
Yep. I think still need more Kiri nerfs.
Kiri Lucio is going to be played everywhere.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think.
Kiri. I mean, still just game breaking. Ball.
Ball's not that good, bro. You go Sombra, you can play Doom.
Okay, but like, do I want to play Sombra?
Well,
like, like, I don't know. Ball looking a little good. Maybe honestly nerf the shields.
Yeah,
I think would be a good change.
I agree. I think that's
I love the mind change. That gave his ult a lot more value.
It was terrible.
Yeah, terrible before.
Yeah. Well, okay. I actually want to get your feedback. How do you feel about Sojourn these days, Sam? Because like I actually don't like Sojourn in my games as a support player unless they're getting damage boosted. I feel like they just don't see that. Or do you think that's a cause of the Wrecking Ball Doomfist becoming better?
I think she's still good.
She's still good.
Yeah, but I do think right now with the meta, a lot of the time Cass is gonna get more
Cass
value.
is going crazy. Yeah,
because you got the sticky grenade. That thing is crazy.
Yeah,
you force away flankers with it, and then like if a monkey comes in, you just stick him, ban the hammer, he's dead. So,
his high noon's pretty good in this meta.
Yeah, the high noon is good.
How much damage reduction does he get now? Like 30%?
Is it 50? I thought it was 50.
It's really hard to
50,
kill
no?
him. That's all.
Yeah, when he high noons, you're just like, well, I'm kind of fucked. And
Either
like,
you stun him or you get out. I mean,
yeah, and I think he's also one of those people who's affected by Mercy.
well, that sucks. That's very uncool. Hi, podcast listeners. I think everything crashed.
back.
Are we back? We're missing Custa and we're missing Sam. I think you can see each other, but they can't actually. We can't actually hear them on the podcast, so I gotta set these cameras up real quick. Sorry about that.
But can you hear me or no?
I can hear you, Coluge, yeah, but I can't hear Sam and
I
Custa
think you guys gotta
because when they
refresh.
join with a separate link or so. Oh my god, and they just left. No,
they're
they
coming
should have
back.
Stayed.
They're coming back.
They should have stayed in the
Wait,
call,
why?
and I would have fixed it.
Oh,
there you go. There's Custa, and we're just missing Sam now.
Sam's coming back right now.
I didn't do anything. It just crashed, but the
Sam's
recording
back
is still
in,
going. So and there's Sam as well. So
so
yeah, we're back.
Oh, there we go.
All right, we'll keep it going. So yeah,
Sojourn,
Mercy.
yeah.
Where do you guys feel? How do you guys feel on Mercy? Like the blue beam, obviously very contentious. She just got a pretty big pass that like changed how she plays fundamentally. But some people are saying buff, some people are saying no.
All right, I think I have a pretty hot take. I think it was good changes. Yeah, I think they were good changes.
I think so too.
I have no issue with it. I just had an issue with the Mercies that climbed, pocketing the Sojourn.
Yeah.
Like it's not the Mercy being good, it's just Sojourn that's just killing the entire lobby. It's server admin.
Do you think blue beam's an issue for the long term of Overwatch? Because that's one of the biggest contentious parts of like you just pocket one DPS player. Like it used to be Sojourn, then in the past it's been Soldier. Now it's Cass, right? Like it just feels like it.
You know,
it goes from
I think
here to here.
Mercy blue beam and like the highest level of plays at a weird spot because Zen, like in terms of stacking damage, like when you think about, I feel like Zen gets more value, but like.
Lower ranks is probably.
And then when it's like faster metas, like Lucio they just outrush her. So
Yeah.
honestly, even with these buffs, I still don't think she'll be that good. And ranked, I think she's pretty good though.
And I think that's the issue is like, I can absolutely, in her current state, even though she's like dominating ranked in some like way, right? I think at the highest level, you're not going to see any. Like when you guys start screaming, I don't expect anyone to be playing Mercy. She's too easily killable by a good dive, right? Especially with the GA changes. So I don't know. It's kind of an interesting community feedback, but it's kind of doesn't affect you guys that much at all, right?
But it's also like one of those things, like she's not really annoying to play against, you know? Like if she was like oppressive and annoying, I'd have more of an issue with it, but you know, I don't know what the win rates look like. I can't look at those type of things, but like when you get things like Orisa, like where she's literally unkillable, it's just unfun to play against.
Yeah.
And in ranked, I've never really had an issue playing against a Mercy. I kind of just go Winston and just zap her a few times. And
When
then
I was
jump.
trying to practice Sojourn and there's a Mercy Sojourn on the other team,
Oh yeah, well that's an issue.
Yeah.
You're just gonna lose every time
frustrating.
against that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this meta, I feel like it's a little different.
Yeah, I think you can just kill the Mercy, right?
Yeah.
Would
Not
you
that bad.
do
Or
you
the
like the
support.
current system where they just like throw some changes at you, or would you like the idea of like having like a PTR like World of Warcraft, like they try out the changes, they try out the stuff like that beforehand, and like you could give your thoughts on the PTR and like try out the changes beforehand, or are you just fine them just like releasing them?
I'm fine with them just starting changes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the like idea like, oh, let's try everything out and see if it works first. Like, just throw some shit in the game and see what
Yeah.
happens.
If they were
just
like
feel fresh.
Jurassic,
Yeah,
if they were
it's
like
cool.
Jurassic, just reworks and changes, you
Yeah,
know,
you'd have to
maybe
try it out.
PTR, but a lot of the time it's just balance stuff.
Like
so.
you throw in like a broken like change to a hero and changes the entire meta. It refreshes the game for everybody.
Hmm.
Like I'm sure everyone was bored of the Ramatra mirror every day in ranked.
Yeah.
Sojourn Mercy just running the lobby every single day. Arissa every day. The Roadhog every day too was like so annoying.
Yeah. I think they just need to give more people that treatment that they did to Roadhog, where it's like, hey, this has been going on for 5 weeks. People aren't happy with it. Fucking let's just crush him and we'll figure something out later, right? Like, and we'll work it out later.
Actually, that's like, it's like, I know they don't want these characters to be like useless, but I mean, like Kiriko right now, dude, if you have to just sledgehammer her to get her out of the rotation and then come back later and like look at her again, like I don't think that's like a bad thing to do. You know what I mean?
It's a good thing to do.
And you don't have to do too much to sledgehammer. You don't have to overwork their kit like Roadhog. If you just increase Suzu by like 4 seconds, you reduce their healing just a tiny bit and gave her Swift Step or the 2-second cooldown, like that would probably hurt her a lot. Wouldn't affect the lower ranks that much, but it would probably kill her in the high
Exactly.
ranks.
It's still playable. But
Yeah.
like Roadhog's kind of still playable. He's not terrible.
Yeah, I haven't seen many Roadhogs, but that's probably just because of how oppressive Ramatra and Arissa have been, right? So
Yeah, I mean, if you get counter swapped, yeah, you kind of just have to go different.
He's only really good into like Monkey right now, and maybe
Monkey
Doom.
and yeah, no, not really into Doom because you get punched out of your E. But yeah,
How do you feel about the game in general right now? Do you think it's fun? If you compare it to like Overwatch 1, where we're like 2 years ago, obviously we have way more content now, but you know, some people have been making the case because like top 500 is broken, the top 10 leaderboard is kind of broken, so it's kind of demotivating because you don't get motivated to play as much. Do you feel that way? Do you think the game is more fun? Or are you still motivated to just queue ranked like 8 hours a day?
Yeah. I mean, I've been having a blast with the game, honestly. You know, you guys, people see me complain on Twitter, but you guys that's when I'm at my lowest, man. Like, you can't expect
They gotta
too
tune
much
into the
from me.
Sam stream on Twitch.
Yeah, I'm playing all day,
It's fun,
like
man.
seriously.
Play for 8
Yeah,
hours.
I've been having pretty fun with the game. Wish list, I guess, for just like the overall, just different rank system. Kind of like right now, you can say I win 7 games and lose 6. That's not a good record, but I've somehow still climbed because of how the system works. I don't really like that. And then what were you saying about the? Oh yeah, I don't like how it's like GM1. I wish it would show your rank or whatever in game. I guess I just wish they'd make top 500 feel a little bit more special.
I liked how it was
or
in
whatever.
Overwatch.
Like
1.
grinding and ranking up more.
Yeah, I think they said in a blog that they're definitely not going back to Overwatch 1, but they are hoping to make some changes. So hopefully,
I just hope they uncap it in some way that gives you incentive, because like I'm sure you guys have the same thing. If you're like, I finished my 5 placement games, I'm still top 500 or GM1 or whatever it tells you, and you're like, well, it doesn't. And then I see my rank go up and down, but without any real context of how it's going up and down, right? So if they could just provide some feedback to be like, hey, this is how much you're winning and gaining. Like, I want to see that I only got 5 FSR on a win, but like 10 on a loss. So then that gives me some form of like baseline of what the fuck I'm doing. And then obviously the matchmaking's been an issue, but Aaron addressed that recently.
Yeah, thank God that got fixed. That was like
did that already get fixed, or is it getting fixed?
I haven't played it since he said it got fixed, but
I was playing yesterday and people were telling me it was fixed, but I was like,
I stopped getting. Yeah, we stopped getting gold players.
Okay.
That was hell on earth, man.
Yeah.
I've
never seen him more tilted in my entire life. Than past, like,
I had lost like 6 straight, and I was like losing my mind. It was always it was 2 people on my team going like 10 and 20 when I'm like 24 and 4. And I'm like, oh, okay, guys. They're just gone. They're just not on my team. But.
I had a DPS player die 24 times in one of my games, stuff like that. And he's like, sorry, man, I'm like a diamond player. I'm like, it's not your fault that you're in our game, right? Like, it's not your fault that you're in our game, but it's just like, it just sucks for everybody involved, right?
Yeah, like both sides. Like I hate being in games where I'm like stomping. I'm like, okay, well this is boring, and then
Yeah.
I get stomped the next game. I have that one guy, so I don't
Yeah.
know. Like a loss of competitive integrity is kind of what tilts me.
All right. Got any more questions, Custa? You guys
Nah.
practicing? You're about like a month away from the pro-am. How's the practice? Are you like ramping it up? Getting the team together?
Well, there's not teams practicing right now, so it's kind of hard to get scrims.
Yeah, scrims will start, I think, like regularly. Probably what do you think? Like 2 weeks, maybe
Yeah, probably like 2-3 weeks before.
2-3 weeks. But I mean, we're scrimming a tiny bit right now. But I think that's more so just because we want to scrim, not like I don't think Toronto's like making us or anything. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
um,
Are you doing any classical like team building exercises in Toronto? Like going out as a team and like, I don't know, doing some
we're going
hobby
to
or trying something out?
yeah,
going, like,
we're doing
hiking or
something.
I don't.
I don't know. It's always fun hearing like team bonding with like our team though, because it's like I think
It's kinda like
we've
we're
bonded
already
the
past that.
most possible we can.
Yeah,
Discord call 8 hours a day for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
Like
I just imagine like Toronto Defiant, maybe like they take you out to dinner, like they treat you to something, or like, they let you experience Toronto. Because Toronto, you were there recently, Custa. Like it's a cool city, right? So you want to check it out.
I live there. It's a great city.
Yeah.
Like it's
Before the
how are
season
you guys
started.
liking it? Have you guys explored much of
I
it yet?
absolutely love it. I
Yeah.
seriously love this city. We came here for the summer showdown tournament. I fell in love with it there.
Yeah, it's dope. I like it a lot. There's always something to do, like around the
Mhm.
city. There's like concerts and stuff. So yeah, pretty.
Go watch
active.
like an NBA or something. I don't know if you guys are
Yeah,
into sports
exactly.
at all, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to go to a Raptors game over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we probably will.
yeah, that'd be cool.
You lived here, Custa.
Yeah, I lived there in 2017. You remember like the dark ages of the Overwatch, just before the Overwatch League? I lived up there.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Lived up in Canada.
Did you like
so-
it?
Yeah, I love Canada. Like as a whole, I lived in Vancouver the year before, but like it's just nicer. Like in terms of the people, I think the weather's good. It gets a little too cold in Toronto for my liking. Like it's probably snowing for you guys, or is that come and gone at this point? Like it was
I
snowing.
don't know. I
comes
don't
and
know if
goes.
I don't know if it's came or gone. I don't know.
It's probably
I
gonna
have
come.
no
It's
clue.
like a little chilly, but like everywhere's been like I live in Michigan and it's kind of like the same weather.
Yeah,
So-
because that's pretty close to your home. Actually, that's probably like
Yeah, it's like a 40-minute flight. It wasn't
Yeah.
too bad.
Wow.
That's nice.
But we live right on the lake too, though. So I mean that'll drive a lot of snow in as well.
All right.
Okay.
Well, it seems like you guys are set for a really fun year, getting the gang back together as well. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It's fun.
Cheers, guys.
All right. So check out Sam streaming on Twitch. Coluge, I've been seeing you streaming as well.
Oh,
Right.
he like that.
Oh,
We're
I
just
think
here
he
too.
left. No? Oh, okay, it's back. Coluge, you've been streaming as well.
Oh yeah, Coluge _ on Twitch.
All right. Yeah.
Someone stole my name.
We stream like every day, basically.
Yeah, I try to stream every day. Yeah.
All right. And if you want, you can check out Custa's stream as well. But people know
Yeah,
that.
I'll be there.
He's streaming as well. Yeah. And they'll be getting in games together and against each other. So, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Plat Chat, episode 166. We'll be back next week with episode 167. And I'll be back to just 4 idiots talking about takes and the Overwatch League going into
We got
next year.
power rankings coming soon, so
we got
you
power
know,
rankings coming in. We got to do team
Let's go.
previews first.
Let's go.
We'll be doing the Toronto Defiant team preview soon. We got to do that first. Give our takes then. Might be biased at this point. We'll see.
That's true.
But yeah, thank you guys. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.